Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of BOXX Modular, the go-to show for insights into the modular construction industry. I'm your host, Gabrielle, and today we're diving deep into an exciting development in the world of modular construction. We're joined by two very distinguished guests from BOXX Modular, Charles Landry, the selling branch manager for Atlantic Canada, as well as Ray Girouard, and he's the senior business development lead for Atlantic Canada. They're both here today to share the story behind BOXX Modular's strategic decision to open a new branch in the thriving city of Moncton, Atlantic Canada. We'll explore what makes this region a beacon for innovation in modular construction, as well as just how they envision the growth alongside the community. So let's get started. So to start, let's both briefly just introduce yourselves and describe your roles at BOXX Modular, a little bit of the day-to-day, what you do in the industry and why it's important.
I'm the selling branch manager for Atlantic Canada. We're based here in Moncton, New Brunswick. My day-to-day role and basically what we do is lease and rent trailers, job site construction trailers. So for offices, for lunchrooms, lavatories, whatever your job site or your needs are on the remote area that you would need an office, that's what we do here. And that's my role right now, is basically a little bit of business development in the side of making sure that we open the office here in Moncton, that we have everybody on board with us as far as the shipping and cleaning the units and stuff like that. We are basically a new operation in the Maritimes, but we've been around Canada and US and Australia. So it's really fun to have us in the Maritimes here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Charles and Ray.
I'm the Senior Business Development Lead for Atlantic Canada here for Black Diamond Group and BOXX Modular. We have a couple of different pieces of business that we do. As Charles explained, we have the BOXX Modular rental business. We also have our workforce group that provides remote workforce camps. So my role on a day-to-day basis is really about relationships and building good partner relationships with companies needing our services or companies that would be adjacent to us. So, building out delivery companies and installation companies and catering companies and those types of things. So on my day-to-day is I interact with a lot of those different companies.
Well, thank you. And Charles, BOXX Modular's expansion into Moncton is really exciting news. So what ultimately drove the decision to establish a new branch there? And also, what kind of unique opportunities does Moncton present for modular construction?
Well, when we looked at the overall, and Ray can speak to this a little bit too, is when we developed the business plan here, we said, Moncton is a growing, all the Maritimes, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI, and also if you want to include Atlantic Canada, you're including Newfoundland. It's just going like crazy. Construction is going very well. Our numbers are year to year beating last year's numbers as construction numbers. So we saw an opportunity here for sure. We've been dealing with the Maritimes for a long time as a company, but we never had a footprint here in the Maritimes. So now that we saw an opportunity to say, hey, there's going to be good business in the future. There's going to be good partnerships that we can have. And we saw an opportunity to basically open up in Moncton. Being the central spot, Moncton, if you look geographically wise, is just makes sense for the Maritimes for a few reasons. One is geographically wise, it's close to a little bit of everything. We're approximately 2 hours away from all the major cities, 2 hours and a half from Halifax, but about an hour and a half to 2 hours from the Fredericton, St. John, Charlottetown area, which is all larger cities that we have here in the Maritimes. And it just made a lot of sense in Moncton too, because there's a lot of growth in Greater Moncton, and it's probably one of the biggest growing towns in Canada. So when we looked at the growth opportunities, when we looked at the future business opportunities, it just made common sense. It just made sense, actually, just to come to Moncton.
And Ray, do you have any thoughts on that as well?
Moncton's a great town. It's been called the hub city. There's a lot of focus on transportation. The transportation industry here is one of the central keystones to the city. We also have a large bilingual workforce. So in Atlantic Canada, there's a minority of French-speaking people as well. So Moncton has about 45% of the people in the city that speak both languages. There's a building boom. We have one of the highest occupancy rates that we've ever seen on the commercial building side of things. housing starts. They're predicting 4,500 new units within the next 3 or 4 years. And then Moncton itself is a great city with, we have 80 kilometers worth of walking trails. We have 120 hectares of parkland, 90 parks, 50 playgrounds. It's a really good city to be set up in.
Well, Ray, considering also your expertise in business development, how do you see Moncton's economic environment complementing these strategic goals that BOXX Modular is coming up with?
What we have in Moncton, the complements really are centered around the construction industry. And Moncton has seen record building permits in the past 3 years. And according to the economic development officers in the city itself, they really are seeing that is not slowing down over the next 5 to 10 years is their prediction. So I think that speaks well for us being in the city of Moncton, but also in Atlantic Canada, being in a hub. The city of Moncton is relatively small compared to some of the larger centers in Canada and the U.S., but we can serve the population of 4 provinces right from our little place here in Moncton.
Well, the services BOXX Modular offers are central to its success. So what kind of innovative construction methods and sustainability practices will the new Moncton branch focus on?
We're bringing a brand new product to the market. So on the trailer rental side of the business, our trailers are, first of all brand new. We're getting them manufactured from a variety of manufacturers, but they're built to our specifications. So we're very particular on what it is that we do with our units. And, we might be a little bit biased, but we have probably the best product in the market currently compared to our competitors. And we're really proud of that. And some of the benefits to our product versus, and I don't want to do a comparison to other people, but the air conditioning options that we have, and from a sustainability perspective as well, using modular manufacturing is as sustainable a construction methodology as you can get. There's studies showing that there's anywhere between 75 and 90% waste reduction compared to traditional building. Speed to market. Those to me are the 2 biggest factors that we see when we're looking at modular buildings.
And I'm sure both of y'all know, but collaboration is key in any industry. So could you discuss any kind of partnerships that you've formed in Moncton thus far and just how they align with your long-term vision for growth, but also positive community impact in this new region? So maybe there's examples of projects that you've been working on or that have been completed just in this new region, but also in the greater Atlantic Canada area.
So because we're fairly new, we haven't had the chance to really do a lot of projects this summer. We're just kicking off with our grand opening just a few weeks ago. But I mean, projects we're partnering up a lot with construction associations. So we're doing a lot with the Construction Association of New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and we're going to soon join the PEI. And the reason we're doing that is they've got a feet on the ground, right? They know who needs help and what areas to promote. And we're thinking that we want to be a great, obviously, community leader and in partnership with them, and we're definitely looking for opportunities in the future to partner up with some good fundraisings or good events that are going to come up, and we'll be there for them, and we'll help out in those events. But in a short term, really what we're looking at is really partnering up with people that are on the ground, have been here for a while, and kind of know what the issues already are in the Maritimes. And if that's training opportunities or helping them out in sponsorships and whatsoever, we'll be there to help out in that area.
Absolutely. Well, could you give us some insight? We spoke a little bit to this earlier, but about the innovative construction methods that BOXX Modular is bringing to this region. So what are the unique aspects that y'all will be bringing?
On the trailer rental side, the product itself is fairly standard. So there's not a whole lot of innovation. But for sales, we're fully prepared to do custom sales, working with our clients to provide them with what they need. The benefits of modular construction are astounding, really, when you stop and look at it for particular projects. A lot of what we're bringing to the market on the sales side would be our expertise in design and construction, and delivery methodology, in the sense that you can do a lot of your prep work while product is being built. You don't have to wait and schedule. So there's anywhere from 40 to 60% time savings when you're looking at putting a new building in place. The difference with modular construction is it moves at such a quick pace that a lot of the focus needs to be with the customer, making all the decisions, so that when you start construction, the decisions are already made. So you're doing all of your planning work up front rather than as you go. So that's really the big difference in modular construction versus traditional stick-built construction.
So as you mentioned, I mean, this is a new experience. You're new to the area. You're getting assimilated. So are there any local needs in Moncton that BOXX Modular is adapting its services to meet, things that you've seen that you're going to kind of change your approach to best meet Moncton's needs?
As Charles mentioned, we had our grand opening in September. So we're pretty brand new. We're wet behind the ears. So really, we're trying to get our feet under us. Like any other major city across North America, actually, there's a housing crisis. So we're really looking at, is there a way we can adapt some of our existing product to meet some of the immediate housing needs, whether it's homeless shelters or any of that transitional housing piece. So we'll be poking into that to see if there's something that we can provide to the community that maybe isn't here now.
Another thing that's fairly popular these days is actually for schools. We're seeing a lot of modular buildings in schools, because schools are, especially in the Maritimes here, where we're getting a lot of influx from population, either from the West or immigrations coming in. So it's creating a population boom in our schools, which is fantastic on one side, but we're running out of room in our schools. So they are putting modular buildings on the outside of schools now to add with classrooms, stuff like that. So we're looking at that aspect too, and that could be an avenue of interest for us in the near future that we'd be looking at. It's definitely something in our realm that we can do, and we have the expertise on. It's just, again, being new in the Maritimes, this is somewhere that we decided to, we opened the shop first, and then we know what the opportunities are out there, and we're doing the right contacts right now just to try to meet the right people, and just basically saying, what's the needs of the community? What's the needs of the Atlantic Canada? We have a really good selection of products that we can offer, but we're not going to bring it all here and just kind of say, do you need this? We're going to actually talk to the people first, see what the needs are, and then build accordingly, or stock our inventory accordingly to what is needed here in the Maritimes. So we're very project specific also. If there's a particular project that we hear about that makes sense for both parties, we're always looking for the win-win. If it does make sense, then we'll definitely, we can actually build custom-made complexes, being trailers, being restrooms, being lavatories. So we have a lot of options that we can give clients.
And that's absolutely the best way to approach it. Well, congratulations to this move. You guys are going to do great things. It sounds like you've got an awesome strategy ahead of you. Are there any last thoughts for those listening in that you would like to sum up in this podcast for them to take away with, like, how do they get in touch if they have any questions or ideas regarding what we talked about today?
Go to our website, boxxmodular.com, and you can request a quote. You can take a look through some of our product, and you can find the contact page for us.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the Built Modular podcast. So a huge thank you to our guests, Charles Landry and Ray Girouard, for sharing their insights and giving us a glimpse into the future of modular construction in Atlantic Canada. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Gabby.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And if you want to learn more, as we mentioned, please visit boxxmodular.com and look for this podcast wherever it is you get your podcasts at. I've been your host, Gabrielle. Thanks for tuning in.